Alright, I'm shooting an overhead brake in the F-16, so I like to do these at 350 knots, 1500 AGL. The book says 300 knots, but that's a little bit slow. So I'm checking down there, bottom right of the HUD, radar altimeter, I want to make that 1500. I also want to note the barometric altimeter, it says about 2700 feet. So approaching the touchdown zone of the runway, I'm going to pull the throttle back to idle and roll into about a 3 to 3.5 G turn. So I want to pull about between 3 and 3.5 right here. As I'm coming around the turn and the plane's slowing, I want to roll out of that bank, staying level, so I'm watching the flight path marker in the middle of the screen, and I'm also looking at that barometric altimeter. Parallel with the runway, glancing at it just to check my lineup. I'm rolling out about 200 knots into the downwind. Gonna drop the gear, put the speed brakes out, and start slowing down. I'm looking over my shoulder, and when the forward part of that missile rail gets to about the touchdown zone, I'm going to start my turn. It's going to be a pretty aggressive turn, between 30 and 45 degrees bank. To start, I'm going to descend about 5 degrees on the pitch ladder, so I'm putting that flight path marker about 5 degrees down on the pitch ladder. Airspeed, I want to keep the flight path marker near the top of the bracket until I'm getting a little bit fast there, but depending on weight, it's going to be somewhere between 190 and like 210 knots, somewhere in that range. So I'm just glancing back and forth at the runway, checking my alignment, varying my bank and descent rate. And it looks like I'm going to overshoot just slightly, so no sweat, just hold what you got. You can fix it after you roll out. You don't want to start banking too hard and cranking and then you get slow. You're next to the ground. So you see I brought my flight path marker up above that 2.5 degree pitch ladder, dragging it onto the runway. Kind of correcting a little bit of a too low approach here. Now I got everything lined up. Flight path marker, top of the AOA. Power comes back. I want to touch down in the middle of the AOA bracket, about 13 degrees. And I'm going to hold it there for aerodynamic braking. Using rudder to stay on the center line. As I'm approaching 100 knots, the nose is going to come down on its own. I'm going to keep the stick all the way back, speed brakes all the way out, wheel brakes on, nose wheel steering on. Feel free to subscribe to my channel and check out my Landings Made Easy tutorial for a more in-depth look at landing the F-16.